Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Alice in Wonderland, more specifically two retellings of Alice in Wonderland to give you my personal opinion, recommendation, and overall satisfaction with two different novels. It's Alice vs. Alice. Let's do this. Let me make some tea really quick. 1 second. We're ready. So the two novels I'm going to be comparing are, like I said, in relation to the original Alice in Wonderland, or the idea of Alice in Wonderland, and they both have to do with zombies. I mean, what more could you ask for? The first novel, and the one that I read most recently, is by J.M. Sullivan. The Wunderland Chronicles, Alice, is the first one. And then the second one I'm going to be comparing it to is Alice in Zombieland by Gena Showalter. Now, Gena Showalter, this is a 4-part series. All 4 of the books are out. I actually have the box set. All 4 of those ones are out. The Wunderland Chronicles by J.M. Sullivan, only Alice is out right now. It has just been recently released about a month ago. 2 months ago? A month ago? Within the last couple months, it's been released, and but I do know that she's working on a second one, so stay tuned for more from her. So I'm going to be looking at 4 different aspects and comparing both books under these same 4 ideas. So I'm going to be looking at, first of all, the character of Alice. Obviously, it's an Alice in Wonderland series, both of them are, so we need to know what the Alice character is like. 2, I'm going to be looking at the relation to the original story, or what we know as kind of like the Disney version of Alice in Wonderland, or the original Alice in Wonderland story. 3, I'm going to be looking at the originality of the plague, or their idea of the zombie virus or zombie type monsters that they have. And then number 4, just my overall impression and recommendation of both novels and how they kind of weigh with each other. So, here we go. So the first thing we're going to look at is the character of Alice. Now both stories, their main characters are Alice, which you would expect in an Alice in Wonderland type novel. I'm going to start with J.M.'s novel Alice, because her Alice was actually my more preferred Alice. She reminds me of like the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland Alice, where she's kind of like that hard, beautiful, but she's strong and she's curious and brave, and she's more like born with this intuition and raised in this world where she needs to kind of learn how to take care of herself and survive. She kind of reminds me of like a Katniss type character, where she has these skills already, even though she might not be, perfecting these skills in this world that she lives in, but she kind of has like the necessary baseline to survive. Now when we talk about Alice in Zombieland by Gena Showalter, her Alice is kind of more like the Disney cartoon Alice, where she, in my opinion at least, she's kind of frail and delicate. She's kind of raised somewhat away from society, although she does attend normal public school, things like that. Their family kind of secludes themselves because her father sees these monsters that are out there that nobody else can see. So she kind of develops and changes like Triss from the Divergent series, where she starts off as kind of like this like poor, pathetic little thing, and then she is turned into this warrior-esque type deal, which I didn't like how Trish transformed. I don't really like how the other Alice transformed, but you can see they're 2 total different ends of the spectrum there. So my preference for Alice is definitely J.M. Sullivan's Alice next to Gena Showalter's Alice. The next thing I want to look at is the relation to the original Alice in Wonderland story, and how it has been intertwined into these retellings and these remakes. So James Sullivan, I feel, did this a million times better than Gena Showalter. J.M.'s story has a lot of the original characters, or at least you can tell who's who and kind of pinpoint, oh hey, that's Alice, oh hey, that's one of the cards, or hey, that's the Cheshire Cat, or hey, that's the caterpillar. You can tell, and it's very clear who each of these people are in their role and how they are intertwining within their story, but she does a very unique twist on each of them, so it's not, in your face, these are the characters, but you can see them. She has her essence in there. She also has a lot of the iconic lines and specific moments from the original Alice, which I love, because when you start to read it and you come across those lines, you're like, oh my gosh, she actually took the time to pull out these moments and these lines and put them into her text to make it more of a original retelling. And then she also has a lot of Easter eggs in there where you have to go and find them, which was really fun to do. Gena Showalter's relation to Alice in Wonderland is pretty much zero. Although, the name and the physique of her Alice character is very similar to what we would see or think of when we think of Alice. She has a couple references to other characters. She has a Red Queen type person, and she does have a white rabbit, but other than that, there's not a lot of connection to the two, to her novel and Alice in Wonderland. They're very separate entities, and when I picked up her novel in the first place, thinking this is gonna be really cool zombie retelling of an Alice in Wonderland retelling with zombies, I was really disappointed because there wasn't that connection to Alice in Wonderland like JM did. So that vote definitely goes to JM. The third thing I wanted to look at is the originality of the plague. So both novels showcase a type of zombie virus, or a type of zombie monster. JM writes about Momarath. Momarath? Is that how you say it? Momarath? Plague. So it's plague. That develops how you would expect a plague to develop, where there's a mutation and then people get bit and they get turned, and then the humanity is trying to survive in this new zombie apocalypse world, very much like World War Z or The Walking Dead, where things kind of develop in that specific order that you expect it to. It's more realistic, it's very scientific. I do know JM is a science teacher, so she definitely uses that knowledge to kind of develop her formulas and make it feel more realistic. While Gena Showalter, it's more of a spiritual zombie. It's questionable. It's it's really hard to explain, and I don't want to give too much of the book away, but these zombies type spirits are unseen to the mundane eye. So you and I wouldn't be able to walk outside and see zombies running around out there like we could in JM's book. Hers are more, you have to have this special sight to see them, and they're more in a spiritual realm. So there's a veil in between them. So if you're in Gena's world and you get bitten, you're not going to know that you're getting bitten by a zombie, while in JM's, when you get bit by a zombie, you know you got bit by a zombie. So Gena's idea is very original and very different. There's a quote on the back of her book, actually from USA Today, that says, if you want a completely new twist on zombies, then pick up the White Rabbit Chronicles, you won't be sorry. And it's true. It's definitely a twist. It's not anything near an original or the expected zombie plague that you would think of, which JM kind of gives you. So, two different, again, completely different ideas right there. For my overall impression, recommendation, and satisfaction with the novel. So I'll start with the Wunderland Chronicles by J.M. Sullivan. Like I said, book number 1, Alice, is out right now. You can purchase it and read it and just absorb it. I did give this book a solid 5-star review on Amazon and GoodReads, which I will link in the information section below, so if you want to read it, you can. But I definitely recommend this novel if you're looking for a solid Alice in Wonderland retelling with zombies, because it is very much true to that original story, and it doesn't have any of that, boring love triangle junk in it that a lot of novels nowadays are kind of adding into. The love interest is very subtle and it's very flirtatious, which I really liked. And I love that she has some of the original characters in there, and it's definitely a fun twist. So I definitely recommend it. I was very satisfied with it, and I think it is definitely up there on that Alice in Wonderland retelling ladder. Whoever made the ladder, she's up there. Definitely check it out. Alice in Zombieland by Gena Showalter is a 4-book series. You can get all 4 of them out right now. You can read all 4 of them. I would recommend it still. It wasn't my favorite, but I would definitely recommend it because it was a very interesting read, and it's definitely a very unique twist on the zombies and the idea of Alice being a zombie killer. I will say that there is that really boring, stereotypical good girl falls in love with the bad boy love affair in there, and I didn't really like it. It was kind of boring because everybody does it, so that was one thing that I didn't really appreciate. But she does have that interesting take on zombies and kind of like an afterlife idea. I will say the first 3 novels of the 4 follow Alice and their little gang and her love interest of Cole. But the 4th one actually follows, it's from a different character's point of view and from a different perspective, which at first I didn't like because I like my novels, my series to be about similar things. So this one definitely doesn't follow Alice. It follows another member that you do meet and get to know throughout the other series, but it was alright. I gave it a solid 3-star average on GoodReads. I will also link that in the information section below so you can read my review and check out Gena Showalter. I will say when it comes to retellings, Gena Showalter maybe not her strongest aspect of herself. I haven't read much from Gena Showalter. I've read this and the Lifeblood series, which Lifeblood was freaking fantastic. I loved every moment of it. But when it comes to her retellings, I did not like it. When it comes to retellings, I definitely prefer JM's take on it. So if you're looking for that really solid retelling, JM is your girl. All of the book information for J.M. Sullivan's Alice and Gena Showalter's Alice in Zombieland are in the information section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you are liking, commenting, and subscribing. And for more fun, you can always follow me on Twitter and Instagram to keep our conversation going and let me know what you thought about Alice. Until next time, happy reading.